every ocean on Earth, every river, every lake, every raindrop that has ever fallen, scientists just discovered that all of it may have come from inside the Earth itself, not from space, not from asteroids or comets hurtling through the void, from inside the rock beneath your feet. And we only found this out 10 years ago. That single discovery overturned a theory scientists had held for over 50 years, and most people have never heard of it. If you didn't know that, there's a lot more where that came from. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Here is what scientists thought they knew. Earth formed 4.5 billion years ago as a bowl of molten rock, far too hot and violent for water to survive. So the water on Earth must have arrived from somewhere else. The leading theory for decades, icy comets and asteroids bombarded the young Earth, delivering the water that eventually became the oceans. It was a tidy explanation. It fit the evidence at the time, and almost no one questioned it. But beneath the surface, literally, something extraordinary had been quietly sitting there for billions of years, waiting to be found. A reservoir so vast, it dwarfs every ocean on Earth combined. And it only revealed itself through one of the smallest objects in science, a single diamond, the size of a grain of sand. By the end of this video, you will know what that diamond contained, how scientists used earthquakes to confirm it, and what the whole Earth water cycle means for how this planet was designed to work. In 2014, a geologist working in Brazil was examining a rough, unremarkable looking diamond, the kind that ends up in an industrial cutter, not a jewelry store. Under a microscope, they found something locked inside it, a tiny speck of a mineral called ringwoodite. Ringwoodite, let me explain what that is. Olivine is one of the most abundant minerals in the Earth's mantle, the thick layer of rock beneath the crust. When olivine is subjected to the crushing pressures found 400 miles underground, it transforms into a completely different crystal structure called ringwoodite. Scientists had found ringwoodite in meteorites before, but this was the first time anyone had ever found it from inside the Earth. And this sample was wet. Not wet like a damp cloth. The water was chemically bound inside the crystal structure itself. The ringwoodite inside that diamond contained approximately 1.5% water by weight. That might sound small, but if the entire transition zone, the region of the mantle between 250 and 410 miles underground, holds that same proportion, the math produces a number that is almost impossible to process. The transition zone alone could contain 3 times the volume of all the world's surface oceans combined. Not a puddle, not a lake, 3 entire oceans worth of water, hidden in the rock beneath your feet. But this was one diamond, one data point. The question was, is this the whole picture or just one unusual spot? That single diamond raised one of the most important questions in Earth science, and 2 scientists, one in New Mexico, one in Illinois, had a way to answer it. Geophysicist Stephen Jacobson at Northwestern University and seismologist Brandon Schmant at the University of New Mexico had a bold idea. If the mantle transition zone is genuinely saturated with water, you would be able to detect it, not by drilling down there. That's impossible. We've never drilled deeper than 12 kilometers, and the transition zone is over 600 kilometers down. You would detect it through earthquakes. When an earthquake sends seismic waves, vibrations moving through the planet-like sound waves, those waves change speed depending on what they pass through. Dry rock behaves differently from wet rock, and at the boundary where the transition zone meets the lower mantle, wet rock does something specific. It partially melts. Schmant analyzed seismic data from over 2,000 sensors spread across North America. He looked for those sudden velocity drops. He found them everywhere. Beneath the Great Plains, beneath the Northern Cordillera, the seismic signal of partial melt was present on a massive regional scale. Jacobson's lab experiments confirm the mechanism. When you synthesize ringwoodite and subject it to the temperatures and pressures of the lower mantle boundary, it releases its water and partially melts. One diamond said there was water down there, 2,000 seismometers and 500 earthquakes. Confirmed it across an entire continent. So if the Earth has been holding 3 oceans worth of water inside its rock for billions of years, how did it get there? And what does that mean for where Earth's surface water actually came from? Plate tectonics is the system by which the outer shell of the Earth is broken into giant slabs that move, collide, and sink back into the mantle over millions of years. What was not understood until recently is that plate tectonics is also a water pump. When an oceanic tectonic plate forms at a mid-ocean ridge, the new rock is immediately exposed to seawater. Over millions of years, water chemically binds into the rock. Then the plate moves. Eventually, it reaches a subduction zone, a place where one plate slides beneath another and descends into the mantle. And as it descends, it takes its water with it. A 2025 study confirmed that subducting plates carry water deep into the mantle, all the way down to the transition zone. Some of that water is released along the way, feeding volcanoes, but a significant portion gets locked into the ringwoodite crystal structure and stays there. This means the Earth has been running a continuous water cycle for billions of years, not just between the ocean, atmosphere, and land, but from the surface down into the deepest accessible layers of the planet and back up again. The ocean you swim in part, water that was once locked 600 kilometers underground. Earth is not a planet with water on it. Earth is a planet whose water is woven into the entire system. It was engineered to work this way. Here is the thing that changes everything. The dominant theory for where Earth's oceans came from, the one taught in textbooks for over 50 years, says water was delivered from space. Comets, asteroids, external sources. This discovery suggests a completely different answer. If the mantle holds 3 times the volume of all surface oceans, and if tectonic plates have been cycling water between the surface and the interior for billions of years, then Earth's water didn't need to come from space at all. Earth generated its own oceans from the inside through a planetary water recycling system of extraordinary complexity and precision that has been running since before the first ocean existed. One small, ugly, industrially worthless diamond found in the mud of Brazil, 2,000 seismometers, 500 earthquakes, and a discovery that rewrites the origin story of every ocean on this planet. The water you drank today has been inside this planet, and it will be inside it again. If this is the kind of thing you want to know, the discoveries happening right now that most people will never hear about. Subscribe. We cover exactly this every week.